Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag, which is a tag that I try and do every single year. I'm a little bit late to the game, but it's close enough to the middle of the year. But before we go ahead and get on into the questions, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box below for links to my Buddy Read Discord and my Patreon, where you can be entered into winning book giveaways from me. Prompt number one is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2023? And I'm going to have to go with Trust of the Emerald Seed by Brandon Sanderson. This book was like reading a fairy tale that takes place in the Cosmere with all of Brandon Sanderson's awesome world building and creating magic systems. And then it's told from the point of view of Hoyd, which is a very quirky, lighthearted character. And then it's just a sweet and endearing story about Tress, who goes on an adventure and just matures and grows into herself, and I really liked it, especially glad it's a standalone. Prompt 2 is, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? And I'm going to go with Shift by Hugh Howey. This is the second book in the Silo series. What I like so much about it is that we are introduced to the origins of the Silo and exactly why these people are living underground and what prompted all of these uprisings throughout the years that are alluded to in book 1. And we just get that backstory to help us better understand the situation. And then the story comes full circle and we are reunited with Juliet Nichols and the characters from book 1 at the end of book 2. And all of this is going to be filtered into book 3 as the characters from both books and the timelines converge and the information converges into a grand finale. Prompt 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and I'm going to go with Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. This is a prequel novel for To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which was published, I think, 2 years ago, and it is a space opera type story about a group of people on a spaceship, specifically one character, who ends up interacting with an alien species that has like a symbiotic nature. So obviously that's going to be important for her. But this just kind of delves into how all of that was discovered. So I think it takes place a couple of 100 years before the events of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. And it's fairly short for a sci-fi book, and I'm glad for that because To Sleep took me a long time to read. It was very dense, but I loved it. So I'm excited to go back and revisit this world. Prompt 4 is my most anticipated release for the second half of 2023, and that's going to be The Traitor by Anthony Ryan. I should be getting in the mail in the next week or so, and this is the third book in the Covenant of Steel series. And I love this series so much because it is a military type fantasy. The fantastical elements are fairly light, as they all are in Anthony Ryan's books, and we're following a boy that was raised as an outlaw, gets conscripted into the military, becomes a scribe, and just rises through the ranks and eventually becomes a confidant and mentor or advisor to this woman who claims that she knows when the end of the world is going to happen. She claims that she has all these visions, and the people of this kingdom are divided on whether they support her or don't. And obviously the politicians, the kings, all of the dukes, they want to get rid of her because she is influencing their people and they are, coming to her side. So it's creating a lot of like political division. So it's definitely a really well-rounded book, a lot of battles, a lot of character development, and the ending of book 2 was really good. So I'm excited to see where Anthony Ryan picks up the story. Prompt 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment of the year? And I'm going to go with Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. I just did not connect with the main character in the story. I found him to be just too perfect. Like, he didn't have any flaws. He was everything. He was smart. He spoke a bunch of languages. He was good looking. He's a freaking gladiator at one point or another. And he was just way too perfect. And yeah, I get in this world that people are genetically engineered, but that's boring. That's not reality. All of us are inherently flawed. I want a character that I can connect to. And another thing is that I felt like this book was way too long and the plot meandered. And most of the time I was reading this book, I would say until like the last quarter or third of this book, I kept asking myself, what's the plot? What is the point of all of this? Why is the author telling us this? What is the reason that I'm reading 600 pages of plot and can't figure out what the plot is? The parts of the plot that weren't meandering, I actually did like, and I found the world fairly interesting. It was just too long, too dense, without clear direction for a long time for me to be interested in reading any more of the series. Prompt number 6 is my biggest surprise, and I'm going to go with Bend Her by Cassie Alexander. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that has like more of a fantastical element than you would think like the Disney movie would have, because in this book, or in this rendition, the Beast is actually a mage who's been around for centuries, and he is able to turn himself into a beast, and he is able to control beasts, so that is his magic. And then Beauty is actually a princess named Lizanne, and her father willingly gave her to the beast so that the beast would work for him to help fight these, they're almost like demons that rise up from the underworld and are like attacking their land. And the only reason that the beast agreed to take Lizanne is because upon ascension into magehood, every mage sees the moment of their death. And the beast saw that Lizanne, who he didn't know, was going to kill him. So when the king approached the beast to take Lizanne, that's the only reason that he did, because he figured if he could take her, he could keep her from killing him. So obviously it's an enemies to lovers type story, because the beast hates her because he thinks that she's going to kill him, and he's very, very cruel and horrible. And then Lizanne is very young. I think she's like 18 in this book, and she is very, very naive, very meek, and very, I want to say, gullible or able to be manipulated, and the beast does take advantage of that at times. But what I really did like about this book is that the characters grew together, which I feel like isn't used enough in a romance, is that the characters actually learn about each other and grow into a relationship and change together, which I really, really thought was a good dynamic. This book ended on an awesome cliffhanger, and I can't wait to get the second book in the series. Prompt 7 is what is my new favorite author, either like a debut author or a new to me author, and I'm going to go with Emily McIntyre. She is a dark romance author, and I read 2 of her books, Hooked and Scarred, and enjoyed both of them. They're fun, fast-paced, dark romances, nothing too serious, nothing too in-depth that you have to stop and think overly hard, so they're just fun and easy to get through, and the romances are really good in my opinion. She is coming out with a new book in August that I do want to pre-order because it looks really good, so I'll probably be reading more of her work in the near future. Prompt 8 is my new favorite fictional crush. I don't have one. I feel like that's kind of a silly question, but don't have one. Prompt 9 is my new favorite character, and I'm going to have to go with Juliet Nichols because she's just a baddie. I love her because she is an engineer, she's a mechanic, and like she is tenacious and persistent and does not give up in finding the truth. That is what her purpose is. And she has goodness about her too, because she's kind and compassionate and wants to help people, and kind of is able to see the large picture rather than just focusing on the moment. And I just really enjoy her character. Prompt 10 is a book that made you cry. No books have made me cry this year. That is very rare that a book is able to make me cry. I think maybe in my entire duration of my reading career, 4 made me shed a tear. So it doesn't happen very often. Prompt 11 is a book that made me happy, and I'm gonna have to go with all of them. No joke. I love reading. Reading makes me happy. It would be impossible for me to pick just one book that made me happy. Prompt 12 is the most beautiful book that I've gotten this year, and I'm going to have to choose Tress of the Emerald Sea again because this is the special edition, but it has the embossed cover, beautiful picture of Tress, beautiful end pages with cups because Tress collects cups. And then there are pictures in here, both color and black and white, and then some of them are glossy. So when I got this book in the mail and opened it, I was so smitten. I'm like, it's so pretty. Prompt 13 is a book that I want to finish by the end of the year, and I'm going to go with Dust by Hugh Howey, book 3 of the Silo series. I am currently reading this. I'm on page 66, so I'm not very far into it, but it is a lot shorter than Shift, and I'm glad for that. I should be able to get through this very quickly. I'm liking it already. It's picking right back up where book 2 ended, so I'm just excited to finish this series out. Alright you guys, that is it for the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag. Let me know in the comments some of your answers to these prompts and how your reading has been for the first half of 2023, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye!